BMW once made the bike equivalent of a red-headed stepchild, which they seemingly want to forget it ever happened and never mention again. If you're wondering what on earth I'm talking about, well, brace yourself. No, really do, it's that ugly. Gents, the R1200C. Now, despite the liberal application of chrome and cruiser cliché, the R1200C was seemingly loved by people who owned them, and BMW managed to shift around 40,000 units of the damn thing somehow. Now, 16 years since announcing the death of the R1200C, what better way to forget about it once and for all than try again, a bit harder this time. The new R18 takes heavy inspiration from the pre-war R5, and that's no bad thing. Apart from that god-awful exhaust which looks like a python that swallowed something it shouldn't have, really not a fan. The lines are clean, all suspension is hidden, and the bike is greatly proportioned, all the while sporting the largest BMW engine ever, a 1802cc air-cooled boxer twin. Looking into the specs makes you wonder why they even bothered with gears. The engine produces a peak of 116.5 pound-feet of torque from very down low, all the way to a red line at 5,750 RPM, by which the engine would have maxed out 91 horsepower. You won't be winning any drag races, but you'll look cool finishing last. The slightly over-square engine marries old and new tech in an elegant way, with air cooling and pushrod overhead valves which allow the engine to be narrower than, say, the moon and prevent owners from using cylinder heads as side stands. There are 4 valves per cylinder and 2 camshafts as well as 2 spark plugs per cylinder. Power is transmitted to a 6-speed transmission driving the rear wheel through a gorgeous polished steel exposed drive shaft. A starter-driven reverse gear is optional, but unless you're Schwarzenegger, you'll need it, since the bike weighs in at a hefty 345 kilos of built-in Berlin goodness. Built-in Berlin, which the bike does not shy away from reminding you right on the dash for some reason. A cantilevered soft-tail rear end takes care of saving your kidneys from certain death with the assembly hook to a steel cradle chassis with mid-mounted pegs, which we'll get into in a second. The marriage of old and new doesn't end with the engine. The bike notably offers keyless ignition, cornering lights, traction control, cruise control, engine drag torque control, which BMW calls MSR to sound smart, hill hold control, which I do not understand as a technology. If you're not able to hill start your bike, you should not be riding. And finally, ride-by-wire throttle, which allowed BMW to sprinkle some of that built-in Berlin humor and name the driving modes Rain, Rock and Roll. I'll give you a minute to stop laughing. Rain is self-explanatory, roll mode being the middle ground, street mode, and rock unleashes the potential of the bike with quicker throttle response and traction control that will allow a little slip. Now then, what's my hot take of all this? Well, let me preface this by saying I am not target market for this bike. My back still has mileage in it, so cruisers don't appeal to me just yet, but I totally understand the appeal. To me, the R18 feels like BMW's attempt to severely corner Harley and take a bite out of their primary market, just as they're trying to slightly pivot away from it. BMW is seeing an opportunity and is going for it. First, it feels like the whole project was done by a team of 2 or 3 at most. The fact the final product hasn't been heavily diluted from the concept, the cheeky attempts at humor, and with the built-in Berlin, they're clearly appealing to what made Harley a success in the first place, its strong appeal to patriotism. The R18 seems to me it hasn't been brought to life by endless committees, but by a tiny passionate team. Second, BMW made sure to learn from their R1200C mistake and made the R18 so modular and customizable. Don't like the head covers? Here are different ones. Don't like the chrome? Here are different pieces. Don't like the exhaust? And by God, how could you not? BMW has partnered with Vance & Hines, so you could have a different one. BMW have made the brake lines in wire and plug and play, so swapping a bar doesn't turn into a nightmare. There's an array of seats and handlebar shape. You will of course spade through the nose for the customization, for the optional extras in true BMW fashion, but most especially for the base bike itself, with a £19,000 ticket for the privilege. The seating position is a big no-no for a lot of people, however, with the whole bike being built from the ground up with the idea of it having the behemoth boxer twin. The seating position was an afterthought, which means that it is a cramped position for long-legged people not being able to stretch their legs and won't be as comfortable or even natural to a Harley biker, supposedly the target market, who aren't necessarily looking for a dynamic seating position. The biggest complaint people are likely to have is how the handlebars are rather far from you, very similar to the R1200C. Now then, do I think the R18 will be a success? Well, at the price point of the BMW, a lot of Harleys will seem more appealing and good value for money somehow, and they're just as customization friendly. The The new Harley M8s are fast and light. However, there is plenty of people who really do not want to ride a Harley, and plenty of rich BMW buyers, so buyers will be found. BMW in so many ways dominated the cafe racer scene with the R9T. I'm sure they can convince people to get a cruiser too. My prediction is they won't necessarily sell bags of these, as it's quite a niche product with some Marmite features, but they will most definitely make a dent in the cruiser market and make a killing in margins while doing so. What do you think of the R18? I'm curious to see what people think, so let me know in the comments. If you like this kind of video too and want to see more from yours truly, then don't forget to subscribe. See you next time, guys.